Hello and welcome to the No One Asked You podcast. This series, I am once again joined by my wonderful co-host, Matt Darn Kitty.
Dorkus and I are sharing our experience reading The Way of Kings for the first time. Each episode we will summarize what we've read and discuss the experience along the way.
This is Storming the Archives, The Way of Kings, and today we discuss Chapter 9.
Chapter 9!
Chapter 9, Damnation. Rain falls on a dejected Kaladin, though he cannot bring himself to care. He's been with Bridge 4 now for 2 or 3 weeks, maybe more. An eternity feels more appropriate. Only Kaladin and one other member of his original group of slaves remain. Countless others have replenished the cycle of death that is Bridge 4, the unluckiest of the bridge crews. Kaladin does not know why they fight on the plateaus. He knows it has something to do with the large chrysalises. The fighting seems to have little to do with the Vengeance Pact. Everything about this war camp is atrociously horrible, and Kaladin just doesn't understand why. Twice he inquired why bridgemen couldn't use shields to protect each other, and twice he received unsatisfactory answers. The Light Eyes of the camp treat the whole ordeal as a game, with Kaladin and the rest as mere pieces on the board.
Kaladin? Kaladin, you haven't spoken in days.
Kaladin considers the chasm nearest the camp, one lacking security oversight, which some consider the one mercy given to the bridgemen. My father used to say there are 2 kinds of people in the world. He said there are those who take lives, and there are those who save lives. I used to think he was wrong. I thought there was a third group. People who killed in order to save. I was a fool. There's a third group. A big one. But it isn't what I thought.
What group?
The people who exist to be saved or to be killed. The group in the middle. The ones who can't do anything but die or be protected. The victims. That's all I am. We exist to be killed. We're not dead already. Later,
I hate seeing you like this.
Kaladin, working hard labor, cannot help himself from wondering what the missing piece of the puzzle is. He knows something is wrong about the cyclical nature of the war camp. They waste resources and lives. They do not push into enemy territory. All they do is fight pitched battles, then go back and celebrate. Kaladin shoves the question aside. The old Kaladin might have cared, but that doesn't matter now.
You used to be so vibrant. So many looked up to you, Kaladin. Your squad of soldiers, the enemies you fought, the other slaves, even some Light Eyes. I used to watch you fight. I can barely remember it. My memories of then are fuzzy, like looking at you through a rainstorm.
Kaladin hesitates, hearing that Syl had followed him far longer than he had expected. The hesitation earns him a lashing from a cruel taskmaster. The army implements several methods of punishment for lazy slaves, but there's only one certain way for a slave to earn a death sentence. Slaves who refuse to charge at the Parshendi with the rest of their bridge crews are executed. The choice is binary. Charging the Parshendi might get you killed, but refusing to do so would get you killed. New slaves are brought to the bridge crews, among them a frightened boy who reminds Kaladin of Tien. Kaladin feels an instinct to protect the boy, but, well, everyone he's ever tried to protect has ended up dead.
Kaladin, I'm going to leave.
No.
I'll try to come back, but I don't know what will happen when I leave you. Things are strange. I have odd memories. No, most of them are not even memories. Instincts. One of those tells me that if I leave you, I might lose myself.
Then don't go.
I have to. I can't watch this anymore. I'll try to return. Goodbye.
Syl zips away. Kaladin, powerless, returns to work. The next day, the boy who had reminded Kaladin of Tien died in a charge against the Parshendi. Kaladin stands mournfully over the body. He also notes the other surviving slave from Kaladin's initial group had died as well in the charge. That night, Kaladin huddles in the barrack, alone, and for the first time in 8 months, cries. I don't want to talk about this chapter, kitten. Very sad.
It's damnation. It's bad.
Before we get into the death rattle, there are a couple of things I want to bring up. I had mentioned in the last episode, but I did upload a death rattle episode where we talk about the death rattles in some of the early chapters. I made an egregious error.
Shame on you, Dorkus, and me.
For some reason, I had it in my mind that Zeth was related to the Parshendi. And that is not the case. In fact, and I don't know why I had it in my mind, but when you look at the prologue, it specifically says he wore white on the day he was to kill a king. The white clothing was a Parshendi tradition foreign to him, but he did as his masters required. So no, not Parshendi. Also, I did not know that they were crab people. Here I was thinking this whole time that they were just cool, multicolored people. So
Yeah.
it all makes much more sense. Did you get the crab thing?
No, I just thought they had like sort of mottled skin or whatever. I wasn't thinking of, Zoidberg or anything like that.
Yeah. So that's neat and makes more sense. So neat. I also wanted to call out a moment in chapter 6 on page 121 of my edition, which is the Tor Fantasy edition. I believe one of the slaves says, Telenolot Ellen, bearer of all agonies. So presumably in this religion regarding the heralds, they have some idea that Telenolot was left behind or that he is being tortured effectively. Would you agree?
Yeah, that makes sense because he is the only, he has to bear all the agonies. I don't know how much the religion knows, how accurate it is. You know what I'm saying? It might just be a closer to the truth than they even realize. But yeah, I see that. I agree.
Yeah. Cool. Okay, let's get to the death rattle, shall we?
Yeah.
10 people with shard blades alight, standing before a wall of black and white and red. Collected Yesachev, 1173, 12 seconds pre-death. Subject, one of our own Ardents, overheard during his last moments. One of our own Ardents? That suggests whoever is taking these notes is an Ardent, or someone who commands the Ardents, yeah?
Yeah, because remember, in our previous chapters, we've learned how Ardents are owned as well. So you can say one of our own Ardents, as in by owning them, or one of our own Ardents, as in it's part of our order, kind of thing. Also, another thing I was going to talk about was the Libralita did mention she was looking at all the different artwork per chapter, and that's heavy nerd stuff, and it's true. It's a good thing to look at because it's done on purpose. We've got different designs for each chapter to show us who we're with and what we're talking about. So did you go back and look at those?
I did not have an opportunity to this week, but what she said in her comment that really struck a chord with me was the dating methodology of the early death rattles to now.
Yeah.
Let me see.
Her theory is that there's two groups that could be collecting these things. I wouldn't say that. Okay, her exact theory is there's two options she sees from this. That there are two groups of that are doing these collecting these death rattles. One records in one way and one records in the other, or it's the same group but they just started recording them with a shorter hand.
Right.
Because there was a difference in, like we did note in our death rattle thing, we did note the way that the days and weeks and months or whatever were not written consistently. We had them in the first few, and then it just fewer details were put in, and then we also get the difference with before death and pre-death. It's easier to just say pre-death.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So she writes, I find it very interesting that the annotation changed slightly from chapters 3 to 4. Instead of writing before death, it goes to pre-death, and also a small change in that in chapter 3, the annotation writes out year 1171, but in chapter 4 onwards, they just write 1172. So I think that's incredibly nuanced and intuitive, and I'm all about conspiracy theories about why that might be the case.
Yeah, that's too deliberate, in my opinion, for it not to matter.
Yeah. But if we're thinking it's a group of ardents taking these notes now, it makes sense different people would have a different way of recording, right?
Yeah, it's pretty much the same sort of idea, the same sort of way, the details that you would put in for somebody's death, who the person is, how many seconds before death. And this now says overheard during his last moments, which is interesting. Because the death rattles, I don't know, just seem to be thoughts, or I didn't make it exactly that it's literally you overhear exactly what the person's last thoughts are. I thought at some point it really is some sort of mind reading thing, or something that's read. The last moments are sort of read after, as much as it says pre-death. I mean, I just don't see how you can go and have these measurements pre-death and then be there afterwards. You know what I'm saying? How am I trying to explain this? Like, it would be interesting. How many people have to just be sitting there literally waiting for people to die? I'm not understanding what the death rattle is if you have to be there right as that person dies instead of collecting it straight off.
Right, because it could be like they're all, in hospitals or something, and, it's the nuns coming and taking the last requests, but it doesn't quite sound like from the different ones as if they are in the same room, so to speak. So
you get the impression that they are out and about on a battlefield, on the side of a cliff, whatever.
Which makes you wonder if it's like an omniscient psychic being, a watcher or something.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be omniscient. It could be just, certain job of the ardents or something, or someone to do, look for the signs and portents in people's death rattles. I don't know. But the mystery continues. Thank you, Sanderson. Gosh.
Yep. And now on to the rest of the chapter. Remember when Syl asked, "Why don't you cry?"
Yeah, well, now he does.
Yeah, now he does.
Is this his rock bottom?
I think so. Yeah, I think it's the end. Oh, this was so sad.
I was actually very sad. Syl makes me very sad because she can't
that's a gut punch.
Yeah, because she can't watch this happen, and that makes me wonder. We've got more that the mystery deepens with her connection to Kaladin in this chapter as well. But now I'm like, where are you going? Come back! Like, I literally felt when she said, "I'll lose myself if I leave you." So it's like, don't leave then. I exactly had the same feeling as Kaladin did.
Right. There's clearly something special going on with their relationship. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but she can't. But I feel like it's also because there's such a relationship. She can't stay and watch this because it hurts some part of her soul to see him broken in this way.
Yeah. And listen, Sen observed some very windy elements of his fighting back in that chapter. And I'm convinced that the reason Kaladin has been so lucky, in part, is because the Windspren are on his side, or something to that effect. So I think if she's really going, he may be in more danger than he has ever been, especially as it pertains to Bridge 4.
Well, I feel like just the fact that he's lost Syl, it's another loss for him. It's something he was holding on to, and he didn't want her to leave. So this is like, the fact that she is not there is a big deal as well. Whenever, if she does come back, the moment she comes back will be interesting to analyze when that happens.
Agreed.
This is the moment she leaves, and and he cries. He cries after she's left, not just he cries because of Tien and because she's gone. Maybe he wasn't as broken until she left now, he will cry because she's not there.
Yep. And with that said, we've got Kaladin getting to the very, very depth of his hole that he's buried in. And there's this really great line, just the word whatever.
Yeah, that's exactly, it's part of his, just his POV, the thing that he says. He actually just says whatever. That hit hard. Just reading it in this book, you're like, whoa, it's not whatever, like that. It's really just whatever.
It's a depression, whatever.
Yeah, it hits hard. It's quite an indicator, and it's early on in the chapter that he says that. And you're just like,
oh, quick non sequitur. The Chols. We've got some artwork of
yes,
these guys finally, and they look so cool.
Yeah, thank you, Shalon.
Yes, thanks, Shalon.
Mm-hmm.
Aha, see, I said it right this time.
What's the name? We do have a bit of a confirmation, guys. Hello, remember I said the Crystallis was something? It was! Yay!
Yes. And Kaladin is smart enough to know these fights here have something to do with them, but he's still missing a bigger picture.
Yeah, he's like, it's not good enough. That's not a good enough explanation. Like this whole... The loss of forces, the lack of shields, the basically milling of deaths through this it doesn't make sense. I don't have a theory for what this is, but I agree with him on his questions.
Yeah. So you do not have a theory then? I don't really have one either. Like I have like hints of theories that involve, I don't even know how to put words to it.
Who are they trying to exterminate? Who are they trying to kill in this way?
Yeah.
It seems methodical and perpetual. Just on and on.
Like there's a status quo that they are afraid to disrupt for some reason.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I knew that from when we first had Kaladin go on the first bridge run, that he would notice something and pointed out, notice some flaws in the way that this is all operating. I knew that was coming, but I can't tell you what the powers that be, how they gain or from this, or what would be the thing behind it. But I'm with him on this. There is something. And also, by the way, sorry, speaking of which, what did that have to do with the Vengeance Pact? So we've got pacts all over this world.
Well, the Vengeance Pact was a pact made by someone in the royal family. I forget who, I think, to avenge King Gavilar, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So why would we not, if that had to do with the Vengeance Pact, I'm talking about if this had to do with the Vengeance Pact, wouldn't you want to win the war? So you would want to make your bridge crews and everything else, your whole manner of battle be more efficient and better.
Right.
And effective.
Conquer the territory.
Yeah, rather than just pitch battles, then run back and pitch. So somebody benefits from just keeping this war eternal, just going on and on and on. Yeah. That's all I can say.
Do you think any of this is connected to Bright Lord Amaram's battle that Kaladin was at? Like maybe that is where the real, more important fighting is happening, and they just use the Shattered Plains as like some sort of method of control over the populace? Interesting.
I don't know if I could say that battle becomes the most important, but it would be. It's a good theory. Well, not the most important. I mean that the other battles around are would actually technically have more consequence. Yeah.
Yeah, the consequential battles.
Yeah, this is kind of it just keeps rolling over and over and over and doesn't actually change much. Over there, I like the irony of that over there where Kaladin thought his fighting didn't matter, this is where it matters even less.
Yeah.
I like that. That's what I mean by that's a good... I would like that to be the twist.
Yeah. Same. Oh, gosh. And I'm still mad at Kaladin for not telling people he's a doctor. That would get him out of the bridge cruise. Maybe. I hope.
I don't know. It seemed like every time he tries to stand up or do anything different, he's just shouts it down. He's just been berated and beaten and just, hey, all you got to do is you're in the bridge crew, okay? You don't move around. And it's kind of like now become a bit of a thing, like this guy's supposed to have died. God damn it. Now he has to stay there and hurry up and die.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, there was the thing of what if you survived 100 bridge, supposedly if you survived 100 bridge runs, you would be free. That's cute. That's all I thought.
I suspect he's going to make it to 100.
Yeah, but first of all, he's been there for 3 weeks, so I don't think he's done near 100 yet, so it's fine. Even so, he will make it past 100, but I really don't think he's going to be free after 100.
Agreed.
Yeah, I think that's just what people say.
Do you think that they will be making him, not necessarily after 100, but do you think they'll make him the leader of Bridge 4, since he seems to be so lucky as to survive it?
I don't know how. What do you mean by leader of Bridge 4? Like he's not going to replace the actual soldier.
Well, not Gaz, but
yeah,
Gaz isn't the leader of Bridge 4.
He's the
he just kind of
all
has
the bridges. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he just by default, the fact that he's been around the longest, he will be some sort of leader of it, but it's leader of the worst one.
Yeah. Also, I think I called it when I said that Syl had probably been following him much longer than he believed.
Yeah, we have confirmation now, because it was your suspicion before that you were like, no, he was aware of a certain period, but she has been watching him longer, so called it.
Yeah.
She also we even had some of her insights that she's given us, that he used to be so vibrant, so many looked up to him. We know that from the first time we met him. Even Light Eyes have looked up to Kaladin in the past, so that's interesting. Yeah.
How else was he allowed to wear pants?
Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm.
Interesting that Syl can conceptualize the difference between a Light Eyes and a Dark Eyes.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Like she's not just a normal Windsprint, but he knows that, and she'd acted just like an ordinary Windsprint back then. So he refers to that so he knows she's not acting like an ordinary one, but at some point she was. It's interesting that she gets stronger, and now she has to leave. Do you think? Okay, look, we know that this is his rock bottom, but what I feel in his questioning of the thing of saying, I'm missing something, I'm missing a part of the puzzle, that questioning is still hope for me. The fact that he's even thinking about that at all. Yes, he dismisses it, but he still has the thought. It still nags at him. If he didn't at all, which I think he's gotten to that point now, he's just not going to think about it now, but we've just witnessed him letting go of that. So that's what was also part of just the tragedy of this chapter.
Yeah. It's very much a depression mindset, but he is actively suppressing his instincts, his inquisitiveness with regard to what's working and what's not, and why he's telling himself not to care. He's like doing a hard override to make sure that he is depressed and stays depressed. Not unreasonably, but it's what I'm trying to get at here is that his instincts, his character are still there.
Exactly. Like he still has to have this look. Of course, the key conversation I think we have is about the groups of people that he then discusses, because he's now put himself into this group that just exists to be killed. He thought it's a good representation of where he's at. He was in this. He had come to this part in his life where he's like, he's going to be part of the group that kills to protect others. Then now he's been defeated and disillusioned and just beaten down. Now he just exists to die because he's just part of this mill of death that's happening here. And that's the resignation he's brought himself to by the end, and why he's crying. Also, of course, we get the extra blow of that young child coming and dying.
Yeah. He is well and truly alone now.
I had to go and check again on the names. I was like, did I get Tien and Sen mixed up, just to check on the names? So yeah, Tien is someone I think before Sen, but the point is those two memories are bound together. Those are young men. The fact, I think he cared about young men because of Tien. And now, he's so delusional, well, not delusional, he's so out of it that his first instinct is to think, oh, that's Tien. And then he's like, oh, wait, no, he's dead. Like, that's how foggy his mind is at this point. But even with that fog, we still have him questioning what's going on and things like that. He's got strength of character here. And so I'm with Sol. It's difficult to see him do this.
And I've been very fortunate in my life, but on TV, you see stories of interventions and drug addicts or alcoholics who go down that spiral to the point where they push everyone away. So there's a very real element here that, well, it's tough.
Yeah. One more thing in terms of the power of this rock bottom, what's brought him here. Kaladin stood wind whipping at his hair, looking down at the corpse. It lay face up in a small hollow in the stone. Kaladin remembered lying in a similar hollow, holding a similar corpse. So one of my questions there is it just part of his weeks here? Or is it the battle that got him into slavery that he's remembering? Or is it Tien that he remembers holding? Or is it the girl? So we've got that mystery.
I had imagined Tien there.
Yeah. Because it's literally the one that he's looking at is a boy.
Yeah.
And just lying there. So, it's a painful place. And hey, works. The literal name of the chapter is Damnation. And I enjoyed the sad sarcasm that he has earlier on, where he's like, he should remember the name so that he can talk to someone in damnation when he's finally dead. He should learn people's names so he can go and talk to them. But then also he goes, damnation would be preferable. They can talk to each other in damnation and reminisce about the times that they were here. So this is worse than damnation to him. That sort of bitter sarcasm, dry sarcasm is par for the course.
Yeah. Is there anything else?
Nope. Except tell me the answer. I want to know why we're doing this. As in, why are we doing this? Yeah, tell Kaladin. And Kaladin, come back, and Sol, come back. Let's go.
Yeah, you got this. You'll figure something out. I believe in you. I hope good things happen to you soon. Because you've earned it. You've put a lot of
ooh. Sorry.
Yeah, go on.
We exist to be killed. Is that what the heralds exist to do? Do they just exist to be brought to damnation and then brought back, and then they go and they carry on and they get killed, and then they go back to damnation, and then so they exist to be killed?
Wow. I love that. I love that so much.
Take that and have a good week.
Yeah. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Have a great rest of your week, and we'll see you next time.
Goodbye.